Trying to build mounts here for the bed. So these are 1 3/4 inches, and those are 2 inch, and I don't know which one to go with here. I think it's, I'm sorry, those are 2.5 inch. 1 3/4, 2.5 inch. I'm cutting another set of 2.5 inch right now, and I'm going to tack those in place. All 4 of them are going to be 2.5 inch. And then we'll see where the bed lies. I'm kind of hoping it's like a seat hair too low, so that I can put a couple washers or shims or whatever in there to bring it up perfect. That's why I'm going to tack it in this place, and we'll see how we sit at that point. So now we're double plated, plate on the inside, plate on the outside, on both sides of the frame. I am probably going to put a plate there. I'm just not doing it right this moment because I'm out of material. But that's easy to get to. That's why I wanted to do. Honestly, all of this is easy to get to. It's looking like I might not have to move my axle back either. I think I can manipulate the bed and get it a little bit closer to the body so that it all works out. But we're working on the bed mounts now, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so exactly 2.5 inches was pretty much bang on, right where I want to be. You can see this body line is almost like damn near perfect. It looks so much better now. And the wheel is not really off that much. I know when it squats, it's gonna go back probably about 1/4 inch. I'm gonna leave it where it is. I'm happy with that. Thing is a damn cruise ship. Look at the length of that son of a bitch. The fuel tank is out of it right now, but look at how open this is. The fuel tank sits down pretty low, but real good access to my frame rails here. All right, it's sitting on its bed mounts. I did put the fuel filler neck door in here. It's welded in, as you can see. Bolts are just kind of sitting in there. They're not fully bolted down yet, but you can see I got the body lines good now. I salvaged the bumper from the Jeep, the original bumper from the Jeep. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the ends yet. Might just cap them, I'm not really sure. I do still plan on putting that hitch in. It is going to look kind of silly because you're going to have a receiver up here and then a receiver probably like below it, but I don't really care, to tell you the truth. It's about function, you know what I mean? All right, so now everything is fully welded. Went with the wire wheel on the grinder. Got like all the surface rust off. There's like a spot or two I got to touch up. But now I'm gonna go get my Pour 15 and start spraying this frame. I'm gonna call it done, pretty much there. So all the gussets are welded, all the caps are welded. I mean, it's just about done. The ends of the bumper aren't welded, but I'll build that later. It's something I can do after the whole thing's pretty much done. So I also welded the section of the frame underneath. It's, those end caps. I also reinforced this on the underside. I re-welded some spots. So now where it joins, it's not only welded all around there, it's also got this little bit of extra bracing. Welded those plates on, so now it's plated on both the outside and the inside of the frame, both on the front and the rear points at the joints. So there is a gusset on the inside. It's not welded on that side, but it's welded on this side. Yeah, we're pretty much ready for the paint. So finally I'm like amazed at how much work this was. So a whole bunch of parts just finally came for this. I got a manual portioning valve, a whole roll of the copper nickel brake line, a flaring tool. I got a disc brake conversion for this. So all the years that I've had this Jeep since 2018, it's never had rear brakes. It's just had rotors. The rotors are just sitting there with no brakes. It's horrible. But the wheel seals are shot. So in order to change those, you got to cut the bearings off. So I got bearings and seals, a disc brake conversion kit, all the brake components to run back here. I also got new U-bolts because these are not the right ones and they never were. And they're questionable. I bet they're going to snap as soon as I go to touch them because I have to pitch the diff down, so I'm going to have to take those off anyway. The ones I got are 13 inches long. Those are 10. As you can see, they're like kind of flush with the thing. That's no good. So other than that, though, the bed mounts are fully welded in. The holes are drilled in the bed. The filler neck is mounted in the bed. A little bit of sheet metal work there I got to do. But as far as this part of the truck, it's pretty much complete. I even have license plate lights. Ain't that something? Never had those either. Wiring and all that stuff, that I can run later. I'm not worried about that right now. But as far as all the hard stuff, it is pretty much complete. So I'll get an overview real quick. I'm also not going to put the hitch on just yet. I'm going to wait on that for now. I do have this big old drop down bracket that I built, which is goofy, but it works for now. I'm only really pulling my boat. It doesn't really weigh a whole lot. So, and I'm pulling it 1 block away. You see that the house, there's a house back over there. That's the street that the lake is on. So it's literally not even a football field away. So that's where we're at. As you can tell, I'm gonna have a lot of dents to take out of those doors. That is the part of the build I am completely dreading, for sure. I'm completely dreading these back doors, but I'll get them done. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the roof skin either, but it's pretty much done. The whole frame will be coated in this. All right, so working on it for about 32 seconds, and I already figured out we have a problem. It's okay, I already have a solution. Let me show you. This is the nice new U-bolt, and there is the spring hat. And as you can see, it's not at all gonna work, but it's okay. I'm all right. That's looking really nice on the axle. So what I'm gonna do here is, out of this 3/16 plate, I'm gonna make a new one of those, but I'm gonna double it up. So it'll be 2 times the thickness of a 3/16 plate, which would be roughly about the same as that. I don't really know what that is. It looks like it's 1/4 inch, to tell you the truth. It's all, you know, And that's it. That'll solve my problem. I just got to drill 950 holes, which kind of blows, but it's okay. We'll get to work. So since my diff is pitched too far back and I got to pitch it down, what I'm going to try first is, you see these blocks here, which are obviously way too big, and everyone likes to cry about these, but I have a ladder bar to stop it from axle wrap, so I'm not worried about it. They're much fatter in the back than they are in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those out, turn them around, and put them back in, which will pitch the... I also have a shim in there as well, like a 4 or 5 degree shim, whichever it is, I don't remember. And then we're going to see where we land. All right, we got both sides on. I can already tell you, like, look at the angle of this, right? So, like, now that diff, I bet that diff's gonna be perfect. I already knew this was gonna be off, and then I'm gonna have to cut this off and redo it. So I'm actually, like, excited to see that. I'm gonna lift it up now and put the wheels back on it, zip them down, and we're gonna see exactly where we're at. To tell you the truth, that pinion angle is pretty damn great. It's amazing how much more shallow the pinion angle is now, which I'm actually much happier about, because when a steep pinion angle, you can starve that front bearing there, pinion bearing, of oil or gear lube, whatever you want to call. So now I'm kind of excited that that's going to be at a much more shallow angle. It's going to really help with lubing that front bearing. Yeah, so I'm going to cut this dry shaft in half, well, the tube in half, and we're going to lengthen that. Is that going to be my permanent solution? Absolutely not. Just for right now, that's what I'm going to do to get this thing moving under its own power again. Okay, so this Jeep has a hack and tap in it, which is when it's got an MP231J transfer case. That means that the slip yoke shaft on the back of the transfer case is exposed. There's no housing around it. So the hack and tap kit allows you to cut the tip off, that's because the tip's hardened. Allows you to drill a hole up the center and tap it, and then it gives you a new yoke. You slide over that and bolt it in place, and now you have a fixed yoke. It's a cheap alternative to the slip yoke eliminator. Now my goal is to put a real slip yoke eliminator in here. It's really not that hard. I've had this transfer case apart 1,000 times. Changed the input planetary gear set because the splines were off from the AX15 trans in it. So I've had it all apart. I'm really like changing the shaft is kind of cake. It's just not in the budget right now. It's like $250 for the slip yoke eliminator kit, and then probably another $400 to have a dry shaft made. So what I'm going to do for right now is I'm gonna just lengthen the dry shaft that I have. There's a couple different tricks you can do it to get it true. Obviously, I'm not doing this on a lathe or with any gauges, so it's not going to be true. It'll be close enough though, so that I can, pull my boat 1 block away to the lake. It'll also allow me to move the Jeep. You know what I mean? Once I hook the fuel lines up, I'll be able to literally like roll it forward. And that's a big deal for me, you know what I mean? Because it's been sitting in this spot for about a month and a half now, 2 months. So it's important that I get this thing movable again. Really happy with that driveline angle. Once this is fully done cutting, I'm going to line it all up and see exactly where I'm at. This is absolutely hilarious. A piece of paper fell out of the tube that says 9/18. That's September of 2018. That's when I had this dry shaft made. Huh. That's hilarious. That's so funny that he put that in there. Huh. Wonder if that guy's still alive. So I stopped at my metal supply place and check out what I got. It's a 109 wall DOM 2.5 inch. It's the exact same size DOM they used on that dry shaft. They only had an 18-foot piece. I had to buy the whole thing, so I had them cut it in half. Now I at least have DOM to build the future dry shaft too. This is just one of the other pieces. The other one's in my shed. So now I can lengthen this one, with actual proper material. That drive shaft was too short. And we'll go from there. Okay, I'm totally using the wrong kind of clamps. These are for like wood, but here's how you do this. I've done this several times. This is how I've done it every time. Get a piece of angle iron that you know is straight. You put a straight edge on it, make sure it's not warped or nothing like I did with this one. You get that cut as straight as possible. The bandsaw always makes it crooked, so I just kind of hit it with a flap disc, straighten it out a little bit, okay? Then you take your DOM that's cut to the length, right? And you clamp it all along this, and then you just tack it in all four corners, you know, 12, 6, 3, and 9. And then you do the same for the other side. And there you go, you got a lengthened drive shaft. Ain't dumb. Okay, so I made a classic mistake. I lined up everything perfectly, make sure all the yokes were all lined up, and then realized I welded it together out of time. It's when the yokes have to be lined up perfect. They were 90 degrees out. So I had to cut it in half, and now I'm gonna time it and then re-weld it back together. Fucking stupid on my part. Now you can see that the dry shaft is in time, and it's damn near perfect. No wobbling. I mean, you're gonna see this wobbling because it's not straight, but awesome. Let's put it in. All right, so the temporary dry shaft is in place. I am amazed. Look at that pinion angle, that drive line pinion angle. That is like damn near perfect. That is like so close to perfect. I can't believe it. And that's all I did was just spin those blocks around, and I guessed. And this is with it on weight. So now I can cut that ladder bar off and redirect it up to its mounting point. You see it hanging there, which I reinforced the shit out of, so it's nice and strong. All right, so when you do a dry shaft this way, it's not the right way on how to do it. Like, I know that's not the right way on how to do it. I just did it that way, so I had a temporary dry shaft in here. Now I know the length, and I have a whole bunch of leftover DOM. So in reality, if I had someone who had a lathe that was long enough for like a 7 or 8 foot drive shaft, that can actually cut the ends out, because everything on it is good. The slip yoke is good, the double cardan joint is good, everything is good. It's just the tube that's not straight, because it's, you know, a bunch of pieces put together. I tried to do the best I could. It is like not even close to, it's gonna have vibration central, but you know what, it'll be able to move the thing around. I'll be able to, you know, finish doing what I'm doing, and then when it's time for me to actually make a dry shaft, like a proper one, I can bring that to them and the DOM and be like, can you just make me this drive shaft, and here's the DOM for it. It's very thick. It's 110 wall or 109 wall DOM, so it's actually the exact same stuff the original drive shaft was made out of. So it's very, very strong. I'm not worried about it. Even though it looks thin, it's long, it's strong as shit. So it's definitely a long dry shaft, but it goes from the double cardan joint down there, straight shot to a slip yoke into the pinion, and I can't get over that angle. It is literally perfect. It's just, oh man, it's so great to see. So now I'm gonna cut this off and extend it so it'll be straight all the way to the mount there. So this will basically be a straight, so basically it's a Heim joint there. So basically be completely straight and connect into how much lower it is. And then that should do any axle wrap issue, that'll completely be solved. And on top of that, now I at least have a drive shaft length that I know will work. And there we go. We're making progress. That's basically going to sum it up for this week's video. I'm trying to push these videos out every single week for you guys. So it's kind of tough for me sometimes because I work all night and then I sleep pretty much from like 5 a.m. to like noon. And then I only really have like 3 hours to work on this thing, and then I got to go back to work. But we got the dry shaft in it. It's just a temporary dry shaft. I ordered a cutter so that I can actually like cut the tube, the extra section of tube that I have properly. And then I'm gonna cut the ends of those off and you know, slide them in the tube and weld it all together so that it's like a legit straight shaft. There's a couple methods on how to do this properly. Obviously a lathe is like the number one way, but I don't have a lathe. So what I'm gonna do is tack it in the four corners, get it as square as I can possibly can, tack it in all four corners, and then install it in the truck. And then I'm gonna lift up one wheel, spin the wheel, and see if it starts walking on me at all. If it walks a little bit, you just tap it, straighten it out, and then you re-tack it. It's a process, but that's how you can get it true. And then the dry shaft problem is done. Then once that's done, I just gotta run my fuel lines, my brake lines, and mechanically we're pretty much ready to rock, and then I can focus on the actual cab. I'm gonna spend one full day on one door, one full day on the other door. I'm gonna weld the roof together, weld a floor pan in it once all that's done, and then we're good to go. Cab will, at that point, we start transferring over all the other pieces, the components, but you know, that one thing at a time. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this build. I know I do a lot of talking, but I'm also trying to, you know, I'm learning as I'm going too. So, you know, if anyone decides to do this down the road, you know what I mean? Hopefully this series will help them. But thanks you guys for watching. If you are new here, consider subscribing, like the video. I'm trying to blow this channel up. Since I started this project, you guys have already given me 1,500 more subscribers. So that's pretty awesome, and thank you so much. I have a goal of hitting 10. And maybe higher, but for now, we're going to shoot for 10. We're at about 3,000, so keep on rocking, guys, and we'll see you next week.